What is up, guys? It's your boy, Jim Rat Crypto. Let me take this gum out so I'm not being rude. We are talking about Icosa Hedron today. Well, I guess it's just called Icosa, but it's the staking platform for, well, there's a bunch of things that it does, but it's built on top of Hedron, which is built on top of Hex, which a lot of people in this community have mixed signals about. Mixed signals. People are either majorly bullish or they're super bearish. Like it's like you don't find too many middle guys here. I'm a bit bullish. If I'm not going to play around I'm just telling you, like, off the chest. Like, again, I'm not an authority here, but like off the chest, I learn a lot about projects from learning about the guys that are doing the projects. Like, it's like I do a little bit of like a social deep dive. I listen to their stuff. I kind of get into their ethos. Alex ticks all the boxes. Okay. And that's number one for me. That's the number one thing. Richard ticked all the boxes for me too. I was like, this is great. Satoshi forgot to tick the boxes because he never existed or was never available. Satoshi, you should have had a YouTube channel. It would have been lit. And you would have came on Crypto in the Morning. But no, guys, so me and Sam are excited to talk about this one. There's a lot of like intellectual conjecture to be had here. Let's just be 100% clear. None of us are going to nail this down to a science. We'll all probably be broke in 5 years living under a bridge. Who the fuck knows? We're all excited for the future, though. I'm going to Hershey Park with my brother today. So today my brother is picking me up and we are going to Hershey Park. And I probably shouldn't have said that, but you know, I'm not popular enough yet for it to matter. You're weak if you show up there. That's so weak. I'm not even popular yet. Don't show up there. Guys, it's Crypto in the Morning. Me and Sam are ready just to chat back and forth because, to be honest, I want to know, is there a bear market play that can be had here, Sam? And guys, 56% in a bear market, a pump like that, 113% can really make a bear market great. You switch a little of that to USDC, you stake some of that, you earn rewards. Guys, you're in a different situation than you were if you pay attention to the detail. If you swapped all your Hex 1-for-1 for Maxi, you crushed it. Stuff like that, guys. Be back. 1 minute, 9 seconds. DeFi proof, guys. Share this out. I didn't tweet it out yet, but I'm going to tweet it out. Sam's going to talk for a minute here, and we're going to get busy.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking no blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some Hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some Hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some Maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning, 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 crypto in the morning.
Yo, what's good? I'm looking forward to this conversation on this Icosa token because when we look at Hedron, we're like, cool, Hedron, awesome, right? But there's an issue with it, right? Like nobody uses their borrowing feature. So Alex has put together this add-on to Hedron to hopefully, potentially stimulate that piece of it, right? Because the idea seemed to be that if you could take your HSI stake, which is Hex staked through Hedron.pro, and you could take it and sell it as an NFT, or you could borrow against it, right? So on the one hand, you're going to have perpetual minting, right? So this gigantic amount of inflation of Hedron, you're like, how could you reduce that? By the borrowing against it. But nobody's using the borrowing. Like, it doesn't make sense. You have a $7,000 stake. It doesn't make sense to borrow $7 fucking. Like, it's just not a super good value proposition. But this Icosa token Super interesting. We're going to get into some of the weeds on that and how it actually works, and then just have a good conversation around where this is going. Like, where do we see this going? GRC mentioned before we came on live, this is probably going to present some very early opportunity for people that are brand new into things, like there was with Maxi. Like, if you did a 1-for-1 Maxi, or even when there was times where Maxi was selling for less than 1-for-1 at launch, meaning they sold their Maxi 1-for-1 for Hex that included a bunch of other shit into it and was liquid. But you could have taken $10,000 worth of Hex and swapped it for like $11,000 worth of Maxi before the price ran up and almost double. So you would have had your $11,000, and then it would have gone up to say $19,000.
And we were calling that right before, and no one knew what we were talking about. Didn't make sense. But if you really have, if you intimately understand, like how money moves, the 1-for-1 mint should be kind of easy for you. Now, a lot of people aren't at that point yet. But like the 1-for-1 mint guarantees you the 1-for-1, right? And if you respect that logic, then any add-on to that plus tradability plus feature is only going to be premium bonus. It just has to be. But there's guys out there that want to get their calculator out because they never left their house. And you got to realize that some of these things have momentum too. It's like, it's not just like this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, wait, no one's selling it. Oh, wait, there's no liquidity. Oh, wait, there's a lot of demand. Oh, wait, people want the price to go lower, but it's not. People are making decisions to not make it a floor, but just, you know what, maybe I'll buy right here and just see what happens in the future. And it just pops the floor. It keeps popping the floor up, and all these added features that they're doing. We can talk about Dipcatcher doing the added features right now. We're talking about Alex going into his bag of tricks and because let's be honest, this is a creative art. This is almost an art, Sam. When he's sitting back, how can I provide value to this and make it happen and be able to build it and be able to like tell it to the people? That's a whole thing. It's very respectable.
I do. And by the way, stay towards the end because I have some very strong thoughts about this that are not positive necessarily, depending on how you see it. There's some big questions about this token. We're going to do that in the second half. But first of all, we want to understand
100%. Big questions. I think Alex would say that first. You know, like Alex is a very open-minded guy. He's the first guy to say like stuff in crypto is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like Dogecoin to the moon, some things to the ground. Like you can't always, and we know that, right? So there is that element of like most of this shit will fail, and you have to look at it from both sides too. So
yes. And the cool thing about Hedron, I just looked this up while the video is playing. And let me see if I can share this real quick. But Hedron, when was the Icosa token announced? Because the Icosa token is basically
1 week and a half or 2 weeks.
Well, check this out. Guess what this chart is of Hedron price over the last month.
Pump and dump.
So somebody I know has a lot of Hedron, so this is good for them. This is a big run up in the price, right? From at the low here, I think there's 6 zeros and a 2, and then up here where we currently are, there's 6 zeros and an 8. So a 4x in a month. A 4x. If somebody had a couple grand in there, say 4 or 5 grand of Hedron dollar value, and you had a 4x, that's 20 grand right there. Because this is very bullish for Hedron. There might be some peripheral things related to Hex on this. But when I say that, I mean, like, there's going to be more building around that ecosystem that people are very bullish on. A lot of people are very bullish on Hex. And this is another thing that's going to be adding on to that, which then introduces more people to what Hex is and everything along those lines. But did you want to get into some of the comments here before we dive into Icosa? You're muted.
If anyone's in that Icosa Telegram, somebody tagged me in something earlier where Alex was mentioning how many people in the ratio of whales that already dumped their bags. Is there anyone, or like something like the last 3 months of dumps? Can you tag me on that? Because I think it might be too high up now, and I don't want to lose focus on the show here. But it was Benny Blanco tagged me in it, and I can't find it. But yeah, so let's talk to the chat for a minute, guys. And again, I'm actually going to reiterate something before we get started. There is a YouTube show with Richard Hartlater with a very young girl who's very awesome, very nice, and we are not going to act crazy in the chat. She's like dangerously low in age. This is a good opportunity, guys, for us to not
dangerous.
This I know, but she's
I'm just fucking with you. I know.
Her name's Miss Teen Crypto, and Richard's doing a great job by interacting with her because she has a lot of potential in the space, and she's really young. I watched some of her shorts. She understands technical analysis, which no one does, or technical parts of crypto, I guess, not analysis necessarily. But so I think right when I started watching her stuff, I realized what Richard was doing, and it's a really good idea. And I think he's networking with the right people. But in this one, I just think we have to be a little bit calm. Just be a little bit calm up in there because we just want, guys, it's a horrible look. And I made that tweet. I just posted it there. Everyone is going to screenshot me any nasty, I don't care if it's a little bit jokey, but if you saying some nasty shit in there and you're going to be in Vegas, like, I'm going to talk shit to you in your face right in there. Okay? Because it's not cool. I like to joke around about girls too. I'm not an idiot. Of course I do. But there's a time and a place for that. And it's not with adults in a fucking Twitter thing with a young girl who's trying to make her work happen. You know what I mean? Please. And I sent that up and it got retweeted by a lot of people. So they're going to tag me on that.
You set up this interview?
No. I just tweeted to everyone and I said, screenshot me any, I'll pull it up. I said, screenshot all in any, and it caught a little wind here.
Okay, we see this on the screen here. I'm excited. Miss blah 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 and Richard.
So Miss blah 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 and Richard live stream today, guys. Be respectful, please, in the chat. I'm going to be watching closely, see who I'm going to smack in Vegas. And here is what is Hex with fashion guru Richard Hart. Here's the thumbnail, guys. It's going on in 5 hours. This will be a good one, guys. Everyone be nice and respectful. And
she is a very young-looking female.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I did, and she's probably over 18, so I'm sure that's okay and all that. But just be respectful and stuff because Gen Z, NFT girl, I'm just telling you guys, you want the image to be better, or do you just want to not? Because there is an image. I'm not your image consultant, but today I'm going to be, I guess. So we can move on from that.
So that'll be good.
Search results on Icosa and Hedron, like for the
yeah. There probably is not a ton, but I can definitely pull it up and see.
But the chart will still be like you can still see the chart probably. Let's see it.
I'm gonna check Hedron.
Yeah, see Hedron if it has anything on the traction wise, because that'd be interesting if it did have a little bit of click through rate. They have 9,000 people in the Telegram, Sam, and for a regular crypto project, that's a lot. That's a lot. Most regular crypto projects have 5,000 or less. So that's pretty
good. In the chat, when was Hedron launched? Because we can put that up against the chart and then get an idea if it's spiked at the time of launch. If somebody knows the date of the launch, I think it was in like late February or something like that. So let's take a look at this. We're gonna pull up Google Trends. This is a good idea, dude. Google Trends, the largest search engine in the world. Google, second largest is YouTube. So let's take a look at this. We have Hedron, right? This is worldwide over the last 12 months because I think it launched in February-ish. Although it could be, I said February, but it might be March, right? Because like if it launched in February, that's right before this spike, right? We do see this big ash spike in traffic. So please, is there anybody saying anything in the
Well, no, we were all getting so much attention beforehand. There was attention. We knew this was going to occur a few weeks in advance, probably, like when they announced it. When they launched, that's probably like this bubble here.
February 26th. Let's take a look at this. So February 26th, it starts to tick up in the week of February 20th.
Dude, I know guys that sold like 600 grand of this shit. Like people were making a fuck ton of free money. So like, and some of these guys have a lot of T-shares. So like, obviously that distributes per person. But like, there was guys on there that have been here since day one, and they said, I dumped it all for Hex. And
we know at least 3 people who fucking dumped it. Probably a lot more than 3 people who have a lot more money than we do.
Hexo dumped it and set it on stream. Gunther dumped it and set it on stream. and many
What's
others.
his name?
And
Motley and Wendy's both
yeah, and
dumped
that's
in.
not. And again, guys, you got to put yourself in their shoes. And Alex probably did that a little bit as well. Like they're gonna dump all their shit. What if Alex knew we were in a bear market? What if he knew this would take a year to get out of anyway? What if he was just like, fuck it, like this is gonna be the better project anyway. It'll stay around, it'll stick through, and then so people have already seen gains from it. People have already a lot of the leverage that a lot of people had, they have lost. But again, there's a lot of people that probably don't even know that they have. Again, the claim phase is over. Like the 10x claim phase is over. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Like that came and went. And I know people I hit up every day. They're like, what the fuck is Hedron?
Yes. Okay. So this is Icosa. Let's shorten this down to the last 90 days because it's just barely coming out. This is on YouTube worldwide. Not
It's just a
necessarily.
little in and out.
Yeah, but it's not launched. It hasn't launched yet. Nobody knows about it. So
yeah, so interesting stuff there. Now we can get, if you want to pull it up, we can just get to the Icosa front and we can start talking through it a little bit and just
you want to give a little bit of a preview of like because everybody doesn't know necessarily what Hedron is. So let's set it up what Hedron is.
So guys, so we all love Hex here. If you don't know what Hex is, we're probably just going to have to defer you to another show real quick. Come back tomorrow, get involved again because I can't go through all of Hex today. But Hex is built on a layer 1, and it is a immutable smart contract that gives you yield. Okay, that's it. We'll just say that for now. But it's immutable is the important part, right, for this kind of topic. So now we're talking about derivatives, right? And this would be a proof of B share derivative, which just knocked 95% of people out of the conversation. So I'm going to bring it back. Proof of B share would mean they're giving you a certain rate. This coin was given to us, me, anyone with T shares, anyone with Hex stakes at a certain rate. That is how it was distributed onto the market. So Hedron was given to all me and my friends from Alex in order to launch this project for free. I never did a nothing other than go to the front end and click around, obviously. So guys, there's that. That's how the coin came to be. But what does this coin do? Hedron. Hedron makes it so you can actually take your stake and sell it on the open market.
But why is that important? Because I have this issue, right? I didn't have the security down. I'm learning about X with you, and you're like, I'm learning all the details, and I decided to take some money, and I put it in a 15-year stake. And now what do I do? Well, then I'm fucking tied to that wallet forever. Where Hedron helps solve that problem, so that if that thing is compromised, you could get out of it, transfer that to an NFT. But sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. I just want to say why that was
important, guys, because when you lock yourself into a smart contract, that account is your account forever. Like you're not moving it until that comes out. And that's a problem. It's a large problem. It doesn't matter what everyone says. It might not be a large problem for Richard. It might not be a large problem for Alex from Hedron. It might not be a huge problem for me. But what do we want? We want adoption. We want adoption. It's a huge problem for adoption. So there's a ginormous problem there. Giving random people access to their own shit so they can lose it all, problem. And Icosa and Maximus, we'll go into Maximus on another episode. It's another derivative play. Proof of T share on that one. So yes, basically you can tokenize your stake. So you can wrap it and sell it in the Ethereum market. Like you can just wrap it, move it, and that would be tokenizing your stake. I'm not going to go into the whole tokenizing thing because I know it just confuses the fuck out of people.
So can I make a quick point here?
Yeah,
so Hedron, right? So this is all going to tie into the Icosa token, right? Because when you listen to what GRC said, you can use with Hex by itself. You're like, cool, Hex is cool, but the way it's done makes it so that people are tied to their wallet, which is an issue for security purposes, and you might want to switch wallet.
Fucking not even security purposes. That's like, I want to sell my shit.
Yes, correct. And you can never use that wallet again. Okay, so now another thing.
That's part of the Hex, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now they're Hedron, right? You're like, Hedron allows you to take your Hex stake and either capture some value for it by turning it into an NFT. But one of the things you have to consider here is I think that there's 3 parts here. First of all, you're like, I have an HSI stake, which is this Hex stake through Hedron. What do you have to do to get rid of that? Well, You have to convert it to an NFT. Probably trivial, but still there's a blockage right there because it's multiple steps and it's shit that people don't know about. Second, you have to be able to take your NFT that you just created. Now you have to take that NFT to OpenSea to actually be able to sell it and list it. Ooh, that's scary. That's scary. We have 2 scary steps in a row because people don't know about all those things, right? And then try to get some type of value from that and the pricing associated with that. These are all like scary pieces that Icosa is helping potentially solve a little bit. But then on the borrowing side, for Hedron, as I think I mentioned at the beginning, Hedron has a borrowing feature. So if you create an HSI stake, you can borrow Hedron against it, right? So then you have some liquidity to go, buy yourself a tea or something, right? Well, that isn't super useful, right? It's not valuable the way it is currently structured, because you could have a $10,000 stake, right? You bought $10,000 worth of hex. You brought your hex to the HSI stake. You had that wrapped, right? So now you have an HSI stake. This $10,000, right? Now you're like, oh shit, I need to get some liquid for something. So you borrow $13.06 against your $10,000, and you effectively put your $13,000 risks your $10,000. Does that seem like a good trade-off? No, because your Hedron could just, in the last month, right, we've seen a 4x. So what if you took your $13 to go buy your tea, you bought your tea, and now you've got to pay your bill back because it's a month later and the bill's due, and the price has 4x'd. That means your debt has increased in value. Who the fuck is going to do this? Nobody. As in, that is why Icosa token is here, to help with the NFT side of things and to help with the borrowing side of things, because nobody's doing the borrowing. It doesn't make sense for anybody to do that. If you want to, we'll pull up the Icosa. Whoops, go ahead. We'll pull up the Icosa token here and chat through some of this stuff.
And we'll work through it slow, guys, because there's a little bit of conjecture on one of the sentences here that gets me a little confused, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, guys, Hedron staking is here. Think about this, guys, from a fundamental point of view. Don't get all confused by the words. They're just words. We just worked through Hedron, guys. So this is a new dApp. Just think of it. New dApp came out. New dApp. And on this dApp, you can do certain things. Those certain things can be done if you have interacted with the Hedron protocol and you have some of that that stuff in your bag. So we'll talk about this. Welcome to Icosa. Icosa is a protocol which builds upon the Hedron protocol. To add Hedron staking and additional incentives for staking hex, as well as jumpstarting the Hedron borrowing system, Icosa is built by the same team behind Hedron protocol, assuring seamless integration. Very cool.
Yes. 4 main pieces here.
You could scroll down here a little.
Can you see this? Oh, wait. It's not.
It won't scroll.
Oops, I'm on the wrong one. My bad.
You're good.
There we go.
Okay, guys. So here, let's look. HSI buybacks. Okay. So HSI is that tokenized. That HSI just means the money that you put into the Hedron.pro, the hex that you put into the Hedron.pro and stake, rather than doing it on hex.com. If you go to Hedron.pro, it's an HSI stake. If you go to hex.com, it's a regular stake. Okay. When you go to Hedron.pro, you can trade your stake. When you go to hex, you got to keep it to the end. So I'm just trying to keep talking about that through. Sell HSI hex stakes to Icosa contract. So guys, if you have an HSI hex stake, Icosa is launching with zero supply. Zero supply. Zero supply. So how does the supply come about? That's what you always want to start there. The supply comes about from 2 ways. Probably initially, the bulk of it will become from HSI buybacks, but then you can earn Icosa from staking your Hedron on the platform, guys. So the daily, so hold on, let me read through this one and then I'll go back.
Yep.
Sell HSI stakes to the Icosa contract and get paid in Icosa. I'm going to just say the whole word so I don't have to enunciate it. The HSI will be borrowed against by the contract and sent to auction. Okay, guys? So they will be auctioning off, but this is the only way that you can get the minted limited supply of Icosa at the beginning. Yes, this means you have the option to rebuy your stakes in said auction.
So you want to talk about that, or I'll cover that real
It's
quick. Then
just
we'll go to
barb.
So basically,
I got to
it
go
would be
pee
like,
real quick.
GRC can be like, I have a HSI stake, Sam. And I have this protocol called Icosa that is going to buy this HSI stake from GRC. Now, he is going to get minted these Icosa tokens, right? So the issue on here, I'm going to get into in a second after we get through the stake Hedron, why this could be. The intentions are good, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's. We'll talk about it in a second. But anyways, so he sells his HSI stake to this protocol. Now, as soon as this protocol purchases it, what they do is there's a certain maximum amount of Hedron that can be borrowed. Remember how I said you have a $10,000 stake and you can borrow $13? Well, if you look at Hedron's price, it's 0.000008 something, right? So there's a bunch of fucking zeros and then there's an 8. And even at $13, let's see, 13 divided by 0.000008, that's 16.25 million of these tokens, right? Let me mute him. So 16 million of these tokens. So he's going to sell his HSI stake to me, to this protocol. This protocol is going to then immediately mint 16 million of these Hedron tokens. And then it is going to let this HSI stake default. So after 90 days, it goes to auction on Hedron.pro. Now, in the auction, you could take this Icosa token, sell this for Hedron, and then take your Hedron and maybe purchase your Hedron back, or purchase your HSI stake for back for less than 16 million of these tokens. Super highly unlucky, but you could purchase your thing back, or maybe the circumstance in your life that needed liquidity has been taken care of, and you're like, oh shit, I don't want to lose that, and you go back in and you purchase your own stake back, right? Because you've been able to actually come over there. So there is also going to be the option where you can stake Hedron in this protocol. Do you want to read through this one here? Where we're going to talk about the staking of Hedron. And then I want to talk about the potential issue here.
Sorry, I was clapping cheeks on Twitter real quick. Had to. Someone said, "Oh, I'm so scared," and I said, "You won't even." I said, "I'm going to have Sam with me, and you won't even look in his direction." I said, "I'll be nice enough to chat with you. He won't even look at you." I'm just fucking playing. We're probably gonna sit there drinking coffee the whole time.
Twitter's such a place where you can just fuck with people.
Pretend you're so fucking badass. I'm like, I love going on there and just being like, you guys see my biceps and delts, I will punch you.
Destroy you.
Perfect. I would in life, I'd be like, dude, like, what do you know about business? Let's get down to business. Like, I'd just be like talking, like, let's get coffee. Like, oh god, it's gonna be so fun. So stake Hedron. This is something I'm really excited about, guys. I have some Hedron actually, and I have bought Hedron. I think I bought like $50 worth of Hedron at the bitty bottom, plus all what I had from my stakes. It's worth like $1,000 or something now. So like it's like under $1 billion. I don't know.
Do we mention? Why don't you tell? How does Hedron come into place? Why don't you tell people, for anybody who's not sure of that?
How does Hedron come into play?
How does inflation
in this contract work? Or that contract?
Inflation just in general in Hedron work.
Oh, okay. It's a little complicated, but if you don't know a lot about crypto, it's a little complicated. But if you're a regular here, then it's basically there was a rate for minting at a bonus. So if you knew about this day one, and that's why I'm so addicted to this fucking chair. You guys don't know. You don't know what you don't know. I'm telling you, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And then when I was first placed to all this shit, I started seeing gains. I started seeing crypto gains, Sam, like real crypto gains from the work that I was putting in. It was happening from like a separate thing. So anyways, that was a side tangent. But the guys that were there day one, they claimed 10x bonuses for the rest of their stakes until they're done. But the guys that do it today, they get a 1x bonus. That means for every B share that you have, you get 1,000 Hedron tokens per day into your Hedron account. I get 10,000 per B share every single day. I have a 10x rate that you do, not you in particular, anyone that's watching, but you know what I mean. That's what keeping up can do. When they talk about team, when they talk about base token, I'm telling you to pay attention. I made an 88% premium just for clicking 2 buttons. Do you understand?
Well, you just did a double 100% on some NFTs.
Yeah, and I learned that you can actually swap the NFTs. So there, another quick side tangent for literally 2 seconds. NFTX is so cool. My God, NFTX is so cool. So Sam, I was under the impression if I wanted to get a different Pokegon, I had to, with the same rate, like if I didn't want to spend any money, I would have to sell mine and then buy back another one, hopefully at a little bit better of a rate. But there's actually a pool filled with Pokegon that people have a bunch extra, the richer guys. You can swap them 1 for 1. So you can just go to the website and actually swap your NFT 1 for 1 from the guys that are providing their NFT as liquidity on a AMM bot for NFTs. The first of its kind.
What's the fee on that? That's super interesting.
It's a normal ETH fee. Don't get me wrong. $12, $11.
And is it like Uniswap where there's like a 0.3% fee of the transaction value too? Okay.
So, but basically, it's like $12 to swap it, where before I would have had to go to OpenSea, sell it for a fee, buy another one back for a fee, and do all the work in between. Now I have a list of 100 that that one, and I found one right away. Me and Bullish were doing it. I was like, that one's way better than mine. Swapped it just for the shits. I'd love to do an episode on the NFTX AMM bot, guys. If you don't think this shit is going to happen on Pulse Chain, you're fucking stupid. And I freaking hate you. Literally, like I hate that you're closed-minded and you're not thinking and you're not there. It's not about money. It's about reality. It's about click rate. If it was about money, then why would everyone be playing Fortnite? Why? If it was about money, Sam, why is every kid playing Fortnite? Because it's not about money. It's not for the most of people. But for the weird people that study finance, it is about money. But like for the average person, adoption does not look like, oh, we're going to be so rich. It looks like put your face in this game and shut the fuck up for the rest of your life. I'm sorry. I hate reality sometimes.
I think what Jenna was saying yesterday is a wide open arena for gaming in crypto, because imagine a game that was designed to improve society, right? So we think of games like that are basically systematically breaking down society into, a lot of people would think of as a degrading society by just them playing games that don't really provide any value to the individual other than escapism from actual fucking life, right? But what if a game was designed that provided value to the individual through education, i.e. the Pokegon, or to accomplish, math problems, but it was a game, or to achieve different things, or finding information, or like solving issues in the world, and finding all this valuable bits of like data, right? This could be a big evolution of crypto as this continues to go.
Dude. If someone could tell me when the next bull market, the last day of the bottom was on Bitcoin, I would be not even if I was to tell it, like, let's just say someone gave me that info in my own time and I just couldn't tell anyone for whatever reason. Like the explosiveness of NFTs in this moment, they're not even dying all the way, dude. Like they're dead. Don't get me wrong. Like all NFTs rubbed, you got wrecked. But that's not the point. Everyone who played Fortnite all those years got wrecked and they loved it. They freaking enjoyed it. They had interactive experiences with their friends. And I'm not making the rules for life. I wish these kids would go to the gym and freaking study up. I do, but they don't. Some kids do, some kids don't. They want to play video games. They want to do normal shit. They don't think big. They don't want to right now. Maybe that's not their plan. But I know where the eyeballs lay. And people are refuting that in crypto. They're just in this space maybe. They're refuting it. I'm like, sports gambling. They're like, eh. I'm like, numbers. They're like, eh. I'm like, people. They're like, eh. And I'm like, wait, do you really give a fuck? Because I'm not even really giving a fuck, but I'm just using my brain. Like, I'm just like, this is business. But they're like, I have this thing. I have to hold it tight. But anyway, guys, side tangent. I love all of you guys. Thank you. Any
So-
fake reports online would please be great. I'm going to read into staking Hedron. We went on a tangent there, but it was a really fun one, so who cares? And we're going to get anyone in this chat that knows Alex. If he could do a night show with me at any time, I will agree to it at any time. And I know he's a busy motherfucker. This dude's writing contracts left and right. I will shill his shit for him. Please have him on. He's so smart. Stake Hedron for Icosa. The daily yield is determined by the. This is where it gets hairy for me, Alex. I'm not going to lie, and Sam, because we usually don't struggle with a quick sentence like this. Stake Hedron for Icosa. The daily yield is determined by the amount of daily Hedron burnt within the Hedron contract. There are minimum stake lengths and bonuses associated with the stake size. That's where me and Sam might be losing a little to our lack of.
And the question I have here is, so I think, and I don't know because it doesn't appear to me to be straightforward here, but the Hedron contract, the way the Hedron contract works to burn Hedron is if there's a stake that was borrowed against that then goes to auction. The only way to purchase the HSI stake at auction is with Hedron. So if there's purchases in the Hedron contract that and I don't know, this is like coming off the fly with this. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but if there's HSI stakes that are being liquidated to auction and I go there and I buy them for, 27 million Hedron, right? Then that 27 million Hedron is burnt, I believe. I think the whole amount of it is burnt in Hedron. Now, when that takes place, there's some type of ratio, it sounds like, where, if there's 27 million of those tokens burnt, then they get some mint of Icosa. Now, this is where this is what it all leans on, right? We're on the edge of a cliff here. Is this going to be valuable? Well, remember, if you have an HSI stake and you borrow $13 against it, and it's a $10,000 stake, you're risking your $10,000 stake for $13 Now, come into here, right? If I am willing to mint these made up new tokens called Icosa for your HSI stake that's $10,000, and say you get 100 million of these tokens, say you get 100 million of these tokens, and they are worth 0.001 cent, then that means you get $10,000 for your $10,000 stake. But what if there's another zero involved, right? Because this token is what's going to determine the value. So what if it's 5 zeros, right? What if there's 5 zeros and then a 1? Then that means you get $100 for your $10,000 stake. Does that seem super worthwhile, right? So cool idea. I love the idea. I love the creativity. I love that there's continuing to build and evolve, but it all bears down to this token, the Icosa token, and the ratio at which they're going to be given out. Because if somebody's going to go the alternative of just selling it on the NFT marketplace, OpenSea, right? Convert it to a token and then take it from there over to OpenSea to sell it, right? And you can get, close to 100 cents on the dollar over there versus coming in here and you get a 95% discount. It's not really going to make sense. If it was a 20% discount, yeah, cool. There'd be more people who would do that, because then they're like, I'll take a 20% discount. My stake is worth $10,000. I'll sell it for $8,000 today through this contract, but it's only going to make sense depending on how much this token is worth. And is there any reason to hold this token? Well, there's a stake this Icosa token, right? You can stake it, but do you think that's going to be what a lot of people do? Or do you think a lot of people who are going to sell this shit, what are they going to do? Well, let's place ourselves in their shoes. If you have an HSI stake and you need liquidity, meaning you need cash for something, why do people get rid of their HSI stakes? Because they need cash for something. So
do we have any idea what the price is going to look like for Icosa?
No.
No,
That's a problem. That's the big fucking problem.
Wow, I didn't think of it. It just all came to me at that second because I was just thinking about the value prop, as you said, like put yourself in the shoes, and I was like, okay, boop, boop, and I was like, whoa, what's the price, right? Like, what? And it, but again, this is a little alpha for the guys that are in here. At no financial advice, I was in the spaces with. And he mentioned, and Alex is not one of those guys who just says shit all the time. He's very behind the scenes. So when he's talking, like he's not like just bullshitting. He's coming on every once in a while to give a talk. He mentioned he thinks what most people would or should do is get some of that Icosa early and actually stake it, Sam, because you're going to be earning a very intensely large portion of that yield from the pair.
Well, let's get into this, and then I want to hear about that because I think this will make more sense.
This is exciting either way.
So
I don't give a shit. Sam,
this is fun.
More exciting than ever right now,
bro. This is really exciting and
crazy, dude. Alex, thank you so much for putting your work in, dude. This is sick. Stake Icosa for both Hedron and Icosa. Like Hedron staking, Icosa yield comes from the daily burnt Hedron. Hedron yield comes from borrowed HSI hex stakes. Okay, hold on. I'm going to read that one more time. Stake Icosa for Hedron and Icosa. Like Hedron staking, Icosa yield comes from daily burnt Hedron. Hedron yield comes from borrowed HSI hex stakes and emergency end stake penalties collected by the contract over time. Starting to make a little more sense there. Like there's a little bit of a component there that I'm
there, so in the first step, HSI buyback, right? What happens? They buy it, they mint this token, and then what do? They borrow against the NFT. So when they borrow against it, they're borrowing Hedron. All the Hedron that they borrow goes to these people who stake their Icosa, right? So you can earn Icosa from the daily burn from the Hedron contract. We still need clarification of what that means or how it's calculated or anything like that. In terms of
just for the chat's sake, I support Alex from Hedron. Like I will put both my. That's just me personally. Like Sam has less insight on him as a person, just looking at all this shit talking. But I respect the man from what I have researched on him and learned from others. Just because I've seen a little bit of conjecture in the chat, just so everyone's clear. But I appreciate his work. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I see some chat here, some dialogue back and forth about the Icosa for the supply, and then we want to get back into this. So the supply of Icosa, right? So you can earn the supply in two ways. I think GRC had mentioned earlier, by selling your HSI or by staking your Hedron. So this is going to be inflationary, right? So you think about this, right? Like, okay, how do you do this? Okay, well, is Hex going to grow in the future? You're like, if you're bullish on Hex and you think that Hex is going to grow, then there's probably going to be more HSIs in the future, right? Which means that the inflation on this thing is going to increase in the future. Icosa is going, the inflation of this token is going to increase into the future because there's probably going to be more HSI stakes of Hex in the future that people are probably going to want to sell at some point because they over leveraged or got locked up too much money or whatever the case might be, right? So the initial thought would be that this is going to have a increasing inflation rate over time. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but it seems like that's the case, especially if people are also staking Hedron, right? Because Hedron's got 6 zeros before the first digit, right? 6 zeros before the first digit. So you can buy $10 worth of it and get like 1 million tokens.
And imagine if Hex blows up to like another proportion of virality, because let's be honest, Hex is not viral. Then the speculative nature of people when they find something like Hex that they like, and I'm talking about in the future when people are a little more clueless about what's going on, and I'm just going to assume that's kind of how things go. Like we get better front ends and more clueless people. That's like a 1-for-1.
Good point.
You know what I mean? So I think that it's just really interesting to think about the potential explosive nature of a few $100s into some of these things when they're attached directly to the T share, something that only goes up in Hex value. And if you trust Hex as an asset, and you think it will go to all-time highs again, then I mean, it's just like, that's the whole thing, right? A lot of people, that's a long process for people to get to that point. But that's where I'm at with it.
This is really, really, really hinges on how much this thing's going to fucking sell for in the marketplace. How much is the market going to
GRC is going to be
value this at?
Heavily.
If I was going to play this, right, and I'm not saying anybody should do any of the things that we talk about in this video, right? But like, if I was like, this is like interesting early mover type thing. Maybe there's early mover gains like there tends to be in crypto. Maybe I would get a bag of Hedron, right? Maybe I would get a bag of Hedron and try staking it in here. Because I think probably a lot of the people who are listening.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think there's going to be like when I'm saying like we're spazzing out about fees for like 6 or 7 days, like I think we're going to be like up all night, like what the fuck? You know what I mean? Because the pools, again, I almost am getting to that point where I hate even sharing half of this information because it's like, oh god, all these smart guys are just getting locked and loaded. But that's my role, right? Like I'm not the guy. I'm not changing the market anyway. It's not like I have market money, so I still have to get there first. But again, opportunity galore. Even something like staking your Pokégon and providing ETH on the other side is like super profitable. It's really ridiculous.
Because you can stake your Pokégon and then you just
provide ETH on the other side and earn fees. But you can, like, remember when I said I could swap my Pokégon? Basically, you're putting your Pokégon up for swap, so you don't give a shit which one you have, but you're earning all those fees because you have so many already that you don't care necessarily. But someone like me who only has 2 or 3 would love to swap one, pay $12 because it looks better when they don't care. So again, guys, there's a lot of opportunity. And when I say opportunity to learn, you don't fucking buy Pokégon and provide liquidity if you have no idea. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But just know, I found something that I enjoyed on the blockchain, and I could provide liquidity and earn fees without losing any of my money. So that's pretty dope.
There's I just was trying to read through a couple of these things here.
Oh shit, please go back to that one. I didn't really click out of it.
Yes, all borrowed is minted and then paid back and burnt, not paid then liquidated. Bid on essentially paying back then burnt. I think that's regards to the liquidation on Hedron there. Thank you for that comment. I don't know. This is going to be interesting. And then they have this little game if people like want to do this. This is the last portion of here.
We are all the SA. Sex Anonymous. That's the only thing that comes to mind when I see SA. I remember I was debating that for a while. Enter into a private staking pool, which generates yield in Icosa. This is time-limited entry event. Once the pool starts, no one can enter again as stakes and yield increase for all other stakers.
Cool. So I want to finish that, but I wanted to ask this question for you or for somebody else who knows about this.
Okay.
So on the staking Icosa, you earn the fees from the daily burnt rate in Hedron, which we will probably clear up when we're on with Sloth next week. He might have more information on that because I think
that'll be
but
nice.
This last part, where is there EES penalties collected by the contract over time? Where are those collected? I don't know. It's a good question. If anybody has an answer to that, please let us know.
I just came up with something beautiful. Let's hear it, guys, real quick. So I'm in contact with dollar cost crypto, and yeah, there's a lot of people in the community, this, that, and the other, about dollar cost crypto. I watch a lot of his videos. The dude's smart as a goddamn whip, and he does crypto paid courses, and he is a Hexican, and he has been there since day one. He did the first ever podcast on Hex, the first ever. It wasn't even on YouTube. It was like on a fucking podcast app. It was just like, so I think we could get him because DCC might incentivize Alex from Hedron.
What's DCC?
He's dollar cost crypto. The guy I just was saying, we're doing a Tuesday stream at night because they're on the other side of the world there. So I think that if I tell Alex from Hedron DCC's coming on, that could be a really dope collab because nobody knows more about all this shit than Alex from Hedron, and nobody knows more about this shit than dollar cost crypto. I mean, it's just, that could be magical, guys. So I think I'm going to DM him right now while Sam talks to just like finalize that and see if I can bait Alex on like a little. You got to give him a little something sometimes. You got to give him a little something, something. DCC was on Fresh and Fit, 1.2 million subscribers, live stream. Yeah, the DCC is all over the place, man. DCC is on every major show that involves crypto with all these red pill guys. He's all tied up with everything. Doesn't matter what you say. DCC has told more people about Hex than probably anyone in this world. Literally anyone. Like,
is this person into Hex?
He was the guy. I was in that paid course back in the day when I said they were, and he was the one guy in that paid course that was like, I think Hex is lit. And everyone was like, dude, you're going to hell. Richard's going to jail. He was like, dude, I'm telling you, I read the shit. Like, it seems tight as a drum. And no, everyone just gave it the old, like, it's the dumbest thing ever. Blah, 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 blah. But it's okay, guys. I'm not fucking hating. I'm not. Everyone makes mistakes. I could have made that mistake very easily. I've talked shit about things without looking into them as well.
Yep.
And that's okay. But anyway, I think this could be a crazy, 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 crazy collab on Tuesday night. I'm going to see if we can bait him on.
Hell yeah, get at it. Get at it. I'm going to cut up some of these chats here. There was a couple questions here. One from Hex Love, where you send him a message. What's more bullish with $1,000, Hedron, Icosa, or Maxi team? That's good. Good question there. And I think that it really depends on the individual's risk tolerance, because the Icosa thing is not backed up by anything, right? So you have no idea what this Icosa token is going to actually sell for. It could just be something that most people end up dumping, right? Like, as I was saying, if you put yourself in the shoes of an HSI holder who wants liquidity, what does that mean? I have an HSI token that I want to get rid of, and I want cash for some reason. What am I going to do with my proceeds for selling? Am I going to keep that shit? No, because I want cash for some reason. I need to liquidate my HSI, right? So in order to do that, what do you think most people who are actually going to be selling their NFTs selling their HSI stakes to this protocol, what are those people going to do? They're probably just going to dump the token, or they're probably just going to sell it. And that's how you would see this, right? Those people. So when you put that into context versus like the Maxi team could also, I see that's also backed up by Hex, right? Where the Icosa is not. So if you're like more, speculative and you don't give a shit about the $1,000, right? The Icosa might be a better play. But the team Maxi, you're probably it appears to be less risk, but you're probably going to see a bump in your premium. You'll probably get like a 20.
It's probably less risk, more stability, and then vice versa would be more downside risk and more explosive gains plus higher yield from providing liquidity. So again, it's just their plays, right? Like providing liquidity is a play in certain situations like this. This is when you learn how to provide liquidity, right? I ain't providing no Hex liquidity right now. I ain't got all that situation figured out, and there's too much action. But there's no one here. This is we'll be the first guys. So like literally first guys. And so
hopefully we'll be setting some of that up this week, so I'll keep you posted.
We're gonna know. Like, I really do advise everyone to really look into this and take a peek and just give it your due diligence, because I know it seems overwhelming, all the inflation, but I promise you, I know somewhere deep inside of me that it's not. Alex knew what was going on. I just do. Like, I just for him to not extrapolate that data in his mind, to me, would make zero sense. From being someone from a way, way less understanding, nuanced background, I would be extrapolating that data immediately in my head. If someone had to come out with me this idea, I'd be like, okay, well, there's dumpers forever, blah, 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 blah. But it's the portion. It's the smallness of the unit size. It's that they all sell their bags, and it gives opportunity to people that didn't have that opportunity before at a better premium than Hex does, because Hex is diluted for some people that invested early on, as far as just buying more, if that makes sense. It's like if you bought it fucking 0.025 like $1 million worth, you might not give a rat's fuck what it's doing at 56 cents, to be honest.
And I know it's going to take you years to get out. Like those people who put in and have multiple tens of millions or 100+ million, like to get out of Hex, it's going to take them years and years and years and years to unload if they ever saw or wanted to get out of it, right? Because there's virtually no liquidity. We talked about it yesterday. Liquidity can be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It just depends on which direction you're looking at.
Virtually no liquidity comparatively, guys. In crypto, a lot of you guys that are in NFT world, we're not really talking about that kind of liquidity. We're talking about like real liquidity where a real investor would be like, where am I going to put my money? Like, I don't care if it goes up 100x. I want it to go 3x and make sure it's safe.
What do you think about this? This is a good question here. Goody 213. So would it be better to stake Hedron for Icosa or sell your HSI for Icosa?
I think better is a weird term, but I think like initially, if you just want to get it over with and have a portion, I think just selling an HSI would be a faster track to get there, to feel like you have a piece of the pie. But I mean, the rates and everything, I don't know. You'd have to look at the rates and
then you got to consider, right?
You could do both. You could do both.
And then do you think that there's higher potential in this thing where you're like, there's no track record, that you don't know like what's going on with it, right? Where you're doing it for the speculative purposes of it, right? Because we don't know how this is going to actually play out yet. Or would you rather have an HSI stake, right? Or like, which is representative.
What will this do to the HSI stake side?
In terms of on Hedron?
So like, yeah.
Well, think about this. This will give people more of an incentive to use the Hedron.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Those are going to be emptying quick. I can imagine.
If I was onboarding somebody to Hex, I would tell them to use Hedron. I wouldn't tell them to go to Hex.go or whatever it is. Because why would you go there? Why would you go there? Why would you just use Hedron.pro? It would be easier to get out of that position given what you know now. Just like in bodybuilding or fitness, when you talk to people about certain things, given years and years of experience, you help guide people on the path where you can avoid some risks, like locking shit up on one wallet, which you can't do anything about, right? So I would tell people to use Hedron.pro to stake their Hex instead of going through Hex, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that tell their onboards just to buy Maxi and wait right now because it's too much learning curve and they're just hoping that they'll get the gains and be able to see it a little better. Because again, getting people to stake their shit, it's a long process. It's a certain type of person. And virality doesn't mean that everyone uses it, but it means everyone knows about it. That's kind of what it's like. It's not as necessary. Like, I don't think we need to find every motherfucker and tell them to stake their Hex, but we need everyone to know about it. They're two different things. They're not one and the same. That's the one thing that everyone in this community gets wrong. They think that everyone knowing about something and the functionality of it are the same method. You have to do both, but you have to deploy them differently. How many smart guys have I watched circle jerk in their mind all day long while I get all the work done and get all the results? Most of them, because it's just like mental regurgitation. It's marketing. It's always been and it always will be. And that's it. It don't matter what the fundamentals are. Yes, it matters for the long term. Will this survive a bear market? Will this all work? Where's the product market fit? Will it work? Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, if it works and there are users on it and it's sustainable, okay, marketing time, because nobody cares. Like it's all about that whole XRP army shit. Like we just saw that whole delusion play out over the hour yesterday. What it is a delusion. It's not, I'm not saying XRP is a scam or anything, but I'm saying being a part of that thing and not leaving it. And like, even like I offered her a Pokegon. She's like, I'm not going to pay the fees. I'm like, you just made $120. Why wouldn't you pay a fee? Like I just sent you $120. All I got to do is pay $10 to accept it. But it's like this delusion and these standards that they have. And it's this whole ecosystem. Like people don't want to leave. What then they find something they like. So I just think everyone knows about XRP. Nobody knows about Hex.
It's still early. This is going to be super interesting. We'll see how this actually impacts Hex, right? Like if it allows more people to be aware of Hex, because this is one additional way where people could use their Hedron to stake and just more chat like we're talking about it, which is for marketing, right? And increasing the education in the space. What do you think about this SA thing?
Let me read it one more time. Enter into a private staking pool, which generates yield in Icosa. So it's more like a centralized situation. This is a time-limited entry event. Once the pool starts, well, maybe it's not. Now that it says it's time-limited, that makes me feel like maybe they did figure out how to do that in some sort of decentralized way. Have to look more into that on a white paper or something. But this is a time-limited entry only. Once the pool starts, no one can enter again, as stakes and yield increases for all stakers. So yeah, that kind of just seems like a little centralized / decentralized game, not game, but like just a side staking within the protocol. It's like the Celsius part, but like it might be decentralized though. By staking NFTs.
So this is this portion, because that
Oh.
doesn't make any sense to people. So I just scroll down here so we can get into it a little bit more. It's kind of like their game that they attach to this, you know.
So buying staking NFT, you have an option to purchase an NFT from Icosa contract, which earns yield in Icosa during the limited We Are All the SA event. There is no set price. The price you choose determines the amount of stake points the NFT is allocated. Like Hedron staking, yield is determined by the amount of burnt Hedron each day. And I'm going to have to get all caught up on the burnt Hedron part. No dilution. Yeah. After the event entry phase has ended, no more entries can be made into the staking pool. The percentage of staking pool your NFT is allocated determines your percentage of the daily yield and perpetuity. If other NFT holders end their stakes and claim their yield, they cannot re-enter. The mechanics: to end the stake and claim the yield, you must exit the staking pool. Because no new entries can be made into the pool, the percentage of the pool allocation for all the NFT holders goes up. When these stakes end, the last man standing earns 100% of the pool.
If this goes on for a long time, right, that, you know, could be kind of interesting. But it's a pool, right? And to kind of like get into this pool, you allocate cash to this pool of some sort, right? Because that's what it's saying. You're buying this NFT. Maybe this is how they're getting paid for this or something, right? But you buy this NFT. What this NFT does is, like, there's 100 people that put in money to get an NFT, right? So now there's 100 NFTs. Everybody put in $100 or $1,000 or $15,000. The aggregate of that pool is, say, $3 million. Now, if you put in $1 million of that $3 million, you get 1/3 of the rewards in terms of these points here, right? They said you are allocated points, stake points. So if you put in $100 on a $3 million pool, you are earning $100 divided by 3 million, whatever that comes out to be, is 0.000. You know what I mean? Of the rewards from this pool. Like GRC mentioned, the this portion here still not fully understanding. But I think we're close on there, where the yield is determined by the amount of burnt Hedron each day from the Hedron contract. I think it might function like how I was talking about, but I'm not exactly sure on that. I'm more. Are you more bullish on Hedron on this, Hex on this, or the Icosa token?
Probably the Icosa token, to be honest. I don't know why. I just think that maybe short term. I mean, it's hard to be bullish on anything that's down 95%. So like the newness of this might pop it just a hair, and we'll see off that. But like, I'll be interested to see the rates that I can get early on, and I do think this will work out long term.
Yeah, I'm curious to see about the Hedron staking, right? Because then what if you go back here to the top here? Let me see. Okay, it's still. If you go to the top here, you could take your Hedron, right? So I have some Hedron, not very much of it, but I have some. I could take my Hedron that's just sitting there not doing diddly squat for me, and I could put this into the stake here and earn this token here, which I could just sell off so I could get some yield there. Or I could take this that I'm earning from a Hedron that's not doing me anything, take this stuff and stake it for more of this stuff in more Hedron, right? So then my Hedron's actually doing something for me. So when I look at this, and Crypto Sloth is probably like already way down this wormhole, but I think that the for me, this puts more emphasis on Hedron. Like I'm more bullish on Hedron because I've always thought of Hedron as kind of like, doesn't really have any pumpamentals to it, I guess is maybe a nice way of saying that, right? Like, why would anybody hold that kind of stuff? We talked about it at the beginning, right? A bunch of people who got their 10x and who are continuing to get their 10x just continue to dump it, right? When the price goes up, they're just letting
But
it
again,
burn
the
for
10x
free.
bonus really isn't that much. Like, again, the amount that you earn on your hex T-shares is really minimal.
It's
Unless
one Hedron per B share.
No, it's
So, like,
1,000 per B share per day.
I think it's one.
No,
Please let us know.
1,000 per T share per day. My bad. Oh shit, I said that wrong the whole time. So you get 10,000. The 10x bonus was 10,000 per T share per day. I think
per B share. So if you get one, if you have a one T share, that's 1,000 B shares, right?
Yeah.
So if you have 1,000 B shares, then you
and then
get
the
10x
bonus was
that's for 10,000.
Right.
But if you just have one B share, then you get 10, dust pieces.
We need to look up on our own time in the background. We got to get some of this alpha away from the people. How many people actually did claim the 10x? Like how many numbers really did claim the 10x that first 10 days or 7 days that it was? Or maybe we'll just do it down to like 9 or like 8x just to see like a good portion of the major people that did it. See how many people did that compared to hex stakers. And then if you spreadsheet those two things, you can probably figure out how explosive it can be depending on how many people actually didn't claim versus how many people have hex and know about it and are learning about Hedron. A lot of talk there, but really it would just be like how many people claimed the majority of the funds, how many of that is already sold, and how much is still available. And I'm sure Alex has all those numbers in his head.
And if he comes on next week with you in DCC,
tomorrow,
that'll be dope. Tomorrow you guys are going on. Dope. Hell yeah.
DCC is coming on tomorrow.
On this show?
Yeah. Well, no, at nighttime.
Okay, cool.
So tomorrow at nighttime, I'm having DCC on, and it's going to be a banger. I told him I was going to get someone else to come on too, so I want to do a little collab. Alex from Hedron is my first go-to, but then I will pick someone else if he defers. I've already DM'd him.
What time tomorrow night?
8 p.m. I think.
Might be able to make that if you're.
Yeah, you're good. So we'll see. The time's iffy on that, but we're gonna wrap up here, guys. And it was absolutely fantastic.
Great show, bro.
Great show. Icosa's gonna be cool. Everything's looking up, guys. Who knows what the future holds? Who knows if it's 6 months bear, 1 month bear, blah blah blah. They'll come out with something new war in China, blah blah blah. Who knows what's gonna happen, guys? But all I do know is we're bullish on crypto, and the more bearish people get on crypto, the more bullish GRC gets on crypto. Literally, like as the sentiment changes, because the sentiment means the people that are wrong. The general sentiment would be the general wrongness of the answer. But if you look deeper, that's where the money's made. And 5% of people will capture the gains from the bull market, and 95% of people will lose to the premium that they probably have right now at a 95% dip. So just know that's where the gains come from. The gains come from nobody understanding what they have in their bags and people that do manipulating the system. Period. End of story. That's how every system is. That's how free markets work. This is just a decentralized free market that you can see everything on chain. So it's a little different. Anyway, guys, I'm going to throw in. Cool. All right, guys. Everyone have a great day. Good to see you. Follow us on everything. Richard Hart at 5 p.m. is doing a stream
Links down below.
Miss Team Crypto. Be careful in the chat, guys.
Link down below.
Be nice in the chat. Say nice things. Say encouraging things. If Richard goes on some weird ass tear, then fuck, whatever. But just be nice in the chat, guys. Everyone, DeFi proof.
Peace.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoke me no blunt on my way. tuned in. Got me some hex and I'm making a stake. Got me some Hedron, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning.